Oops, I pressed stop.
Matt, can you stop shouting at me? I'm trying to record.
Tell him. Tell him, Russ. We're already recording.
Fucking no shopping to put his Xbox in the shower.
What is it? Brother?
Yeah,
You can get rid of him, man.
I'll just hang him out the window. Right. I think we're good to go. I just need to figure out what I'm going to say.
I mean, you've had a week to think about it.
Well, yeah, but that's like saying, well, I had a week to prepare for my A-levels, you know.
Oh, sweet Jesus Christ.
What the...
What was that?
Just taking him up, you know?
Podcasting!
Do you know what made me sad the other day? I listened to the poker rap and I've forgotten all of it. And I was like, oh.
Forgotten all of it?
Yeah, I used to know the poker rap.
I still know bits of it. I can't say I know it all.
Except the catch him, gotta catch him all, gotta catch him all. You know,
We gotta rap some Pokemon. You just do the singing. I'll take care of the hard part. Let's get it on. I want to be the best.
alright, I've got this bit down. It's the actual rapping part.
Beat all the rest.
Here we go.
Electro, Diglett, Nidoran, Mankey, Venusaur, Rattata, Pharaoh, Pidgey, Jolteon, Dragonite, Gastly, Ponyta, Vaporeon, Poliwrath, Butterfree.
But there was
The link I sent here is one of our favourite memes ever.
5 different ones, and it was one for every day of the week, and I knew it. But you've just sent me. Oh, okay. Oh yeah. Catch him, gotta catch him all, Pokemon.
Oh, why do you have to start the Pokemon now, Mike? Right, oh, we're actually live here. Okay. Yeah. And there you go. That was the Out of Nowhere podcast. Cool. Right. Do we need to mark for this, or does it not matter on
No.
Hangouts?
Does not matter.
Awesome. Mark. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to the Out of Nowhere podcast. I am your first-time host this week, Russ Poynton, and joining me this week is Michael Allen,
Good evening, sir.
Chelsea Edgerton,
Hello.
and Oliver Thompson.
So this is what it feels like to be last.
Yay!
It's about time someone put you in your place. How is everyone this
alright.
week?
Harsh. Very harsh.
Harsh but fair. Because he puts me last all the time, so you know, I'm going to be the heel presenter. The heel presenter.
This might be the most anyone ever heard you speak, Russ.
Maybe so. The most anyone heard me speak without making some kind of stupid joke about Chris Benoit, but yeah.
Oh shit, we've gone there already.
How's everyone doing this week? Has everybody had a good week in wrestling?
It's not been bad.
I've been laughing at TNA, frankly.
Well, we've been doing that for about 2 years now, so...
Yeah, it all goes either up the shitter today or not, doesn't it?
Yep. Apparently it could be no more. After actually putting on a pretty damn good show the other night, I've got to say. But
I watched it
Oh,
like
well.
2 weeks ago, and it wasn't half bad. I don't know what it is about TNA. Like the wrestling's great, and the roster they've got is pretty good, but for some reason it just doesn't mesh together.
My favourite thing I read was Meltzer, who said on his radio show or podcast, I can't remember what it is. You wouldn't believe how bad it is. When I say they're out of money, they're out of money. That pretty much sums up the situation over in TNA.
it's unfortunate that they've been putting on some good TV for the past few months, really, but it's like at this point the TNA brand is just so toxic, and like you mentioned TNA and people laugh now. Like there's no kind of excitement. It's just, oh shit, they're still going.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
at a
did
time where it was thought that TNA might be the second fiddle to WWE, it turns out they're even lower than Ring of Honor and New Japan, and even some of these British brands that we've got.
Well, the problem with playing second fiddle to WWE is that they made their own second fiddle and called it NXT.
That's right. That's true. Very true.
I wouldn't
But,
exactly call NXT second fiddle though at this point, would you?
Not in my mind, but
Raw
Anyway,
starting to take on a few NXT qualities. I feel it's
well,
I reckon NXT numbers are better than Raw's numbers, though. Oh.
well, based on some of the news that came out that we'll get to in a bit, yeah. But in terms of the most important thing that happened this week, is everybody super excited for Total Bellas?
I am so
Chelsea.
excited. I am so excited. We're going to get to see Daniel Bryan still on a week-by-week basis. I mean, how can you not be excited for that?
If you love something, you've got to let it go. And Daniel Bryan shouldn't be anywhere near this piece of shit.
That's very true. John Cena's still about as well, though. But,
Yeah, he can fuck off, but no more.
I don't know. I really like John Cena outside of Raw. I really do enjoy him. Like the bits he's in on Total Divas. Like he's absolutely hilarious. I'll give the first episode a watch just because.
Oh, wait,
Like,
me and Chelsea are doing a out of nowhere reacts review.
Oh, we are?
As soon as episode 1's finished airing. We're going to watch it live, and that's it. We're going to.
And you're going to film it with a video, and the video will be Chelsea just enjoying it and Mike drinking himself into a cup.
Yeah, pretty much. So me and Chelsea are going to have to get together for this, and it's just going to be. In fact, I'll just put it on Switch and just watch me descend into a drunken's mess.
There you go, something to look forward to for all you suspended out of nowhere listeners. But in terms of this week in wrestling, playing second fiddle to Total Bellas was the actual Raw show. So let's move on to that, and it opened up this week with a long segment from the Ambrose Asylum featuring almost everyone else. So what did we all think of that?
I fucking love Ambrose. Like this whole, I'm so happy. Like just the carpet and the potted plant and I don't know. What was his joke that he first came out with? Something about Braun Strowman being a fucking monster in the river or something. But I need this Ambrose Asylum every single week. Like Raw can open that way every single time.
I don't know, man. It doesn't go anywhere, does it?
That's the point with Ambrose.
I know,
Yeah,
it's funny. It's funny, and even the points where Shane was getting out of the ring and then he went, whoa, hold my plant. I mean, all that stuff, I'll eat it up all day, but it does, the point, I don't actually know what the point of the segment was, but, I mean, I laughed,
It
so...
did feel a little stilted, didn't it? Like there was like some awkward pauses in places that I'm not too sure if it was
Do you think...
flubbing his lines a bit or...
Yeah, do you think that's alright, though, with Ambrose, because of who he is?
Yeah, I think he gets away with it more than anyone else would, and I also hope that the potted plant becomes like a permanent prop, like Al Snow's head.
Brilliant. He just carries it down to the ring every single match.
Yeah, and
And he starts talking to it.
Exactly, it'll be like Al Snow's dog, and if anything happens to it, there's a whole storyline.
What do we want? Plant!
Exactly. But in my opinion, the segment did run a bit long, and I think you're right. It just seemed like kind of a flimsy excuse to get Owen, Zayn, Jericho, and Ambrose in the same ring, so they could kind of build into the matches going into Payback. I mean, the card for that's looking pretty good, and we'll cover off some of the items on the way. But I mean, what do you think of the outcome in terms of those matches?
They're the matches that I think we all thought were going to happen at WrestleMania, and they happened a month later. Because I'm fairly certain we had this conversation about 3 or 4 months back, saying what we think is going to happen on the WrestleMania card, and I'm fairly certain some of us either said it was going to be Zayn versus Owens and Jericho versus Ambrose.
At this point, though, we could really get rid of WrestleMania and have Payback as just imagine that's WrestleMania because
WWE has done.
Yeah, that's it. They've completely skimmed over everything that they implemented themselves. So with how the card's looking so far, like I'd take this card as a WrestleMania card at this point.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? They've ignored everything that happened at WrestleMania, and if you're to believe what comes out from backstage, I guess, and these were the matches that were originally slated for WrestleMania before they went and changed their plans as usual. So yeah, I feel as though this probably should have been the WrestleMania lineup, just as we said many moons ago.
Like at this point,
Yeah,
WrestleMania
I
feels
agree.
like it was just a special event. Like it was just another like Beast in the East, or like the house show that they did, and now we're getting to the
Just a ridiculously massive house.
yeah,
It
basically.
was Vince McMahon just whipping his cock out on the table and going, "Look how many people I can put in a stadium."
Yeah.
Even though the product that I'm going to give them is what they don't want. Check this out. I'm going to do it anyway.
I mean, what
Well-
was the reason for Shane being in charge tonight again? Was that ever addressed?
No, I don't
No,
think it was.
not tonight. He just is because he is. But I mean, good news for Raw and WWE in general. As soon as I got back to work this week, the kids came up to me and said, "Did you watch WrestleMania?" I said, "Yeah. What did you think?" And they said they loved it all. So yeah, they're playing to their audience.
Hey, Roman Reigns said it himself. He's not there. He's not there for the grown-ups.
Exactly.
It is a family TV show, and that's what matters.
Yeah. But they're like Roman Reigns, so go for them.
Yeah, well, I mean, moving out of this segment, it moved into the first match of the night, which was Sami Zayn versus Chris Jericho. Always going to be a solid match, in my opinion. Those two guys really can put on a good show. But, I mean, what did you guys think of the match? From my point of view, the one takeaway I've got from this match is someone's kicked out of a fucking Blue Thunder Bomb again. Is Sami Zayn ever going to win a match with that move?
No.
It's never been his finisher though. That his finisher is a hell of a kick.
But I every time there's a Blue Thunder Bomb now, I'm like, oh, there's a 2 count. There's not even a
The
possibility.
same with like half the moves these days. Like even finishes these days only get 2 counts the first time they hit them.
See,
He does it so beautifully.
I said this last week though, wasn't it? Is if AJ Styles can win with a phenomenal forearm, how
That's
did
his
he?
finisher though.
No way! Come on.
Yeah, that's his new
his main
finisher.
finisher.
No, they've stopped. Like if you read about it, they've transitioned to the forearm because he can actually hit that on everyone, and the style clash is.
Been given to Cesaro.
Yeah, they got neutralised.
But that's the thing. Cesaro basically does a phenomenal forearm-esque move as well when he does the
Uppercut.
rebound uppercut off the ropes, and that's a much prettier move than the phenomenal forearm is. But that don't win. I don't understand.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I'm with you,
Took it off
Russ.
topic there, sorry.
I'm with you. Blue Thunderbomb should be getting some victory at some point, just so it makes it a little more believable when he puts his arm up in the air and he shakes his head like wow, I've definitely won this one.
Yeah, 100%.
Sheamus
I
was
mean,
like his 4 finishing moves that never finish matches.
yeah, but that's Sheamus. It's different. Fuck Sheamus. in terms of this match, what did you reckon, Charles? Because I know you're a fan of both of the guys involved. So
Again, like with these 4 guys, like Owens, Sami Zayn, Jericho, and Ambrose, like all being together, like these are some of my favorite wrestlers. So having like the mix and match between them is just awesome to watch, and I don't know, they're so nice in the ring together. Like just thinking about the match now, the only thing that I can really recall is like the arm drags at the beginning, like just little things like that. They work so beautifully well together, and it was a great match. And that's what I'm finding Raw to be at the moment, is a lot more like technically really well done in ring.
That's the thing, though, but that doesn't translate to them getting the audience for some reason. I mean, for me, I've always wanted to watch wrestling because I like watching them wrestle,
Yeah.
and the story is secondary. But it doesn't seem that that's what pulls in, people.
I think another thing we're hinting at is the fact that the ratings this week have been the lowest, haven't they? Like reports are like they did the lowest number of ratings, like the lowest rating for some time now.
2 weeks
But
out
for
from
me-
Mania as well. But
That was only for the 3rd hour. Like the first 2 hours did really well, and the 3rd hour was going up against the NBA and Better Call Saul finale. So of course you're going to get millions watching the Better Call Saul finale rather than 2 bloody 4-on-4 tag matches and a main event of Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens, which you're not going to go back to until it's at least at the end of the hour because they're going to do the overall and the commercial break. So you can watch all the Better Call Saul and come back and watch the end of Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens. So the 3rd hour to Raw has always been essentially pointless in a ratings drop, and I don't think it's ever really bar, say, when The Rock returns, ever drawn any ratings that third hour.
I also think
Um,
this week had two problems. First of which, I don't like Dean Roman Reigns so much because he's in a difficult position and I believe he's trying his best, even if it is falling short sometimes. But he's not an exciting enough champion to be a draw, like someone like Seth Rollins would be, for example. And also, when this has been taped earlier in the UK, it gets less social media interaction, less buzz around it, and I think that can hit the ratings as well.
Yeah, I
Like-
think the other thing that's hitting the ratings as well is like a lot of the casual fans might have tuned out because obviously we've got no John Cena, we've got no Randy Orton and people like that, and I think for casual fans who enjoy those guys, I think them not being around and having just an influx of NXT and people they don't know, maybe people are turning off because obviously they're not invested in anybody.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a vicious circle there because you've got to get the guys from NXT up and give them the time.
Yeah.
But if you don't put enough emphasis on them, then they'll never get where they need to be. So I agree with you, but it's a difficult one, isn't it?
The one thing that sticks out to me throughout this whole thing is that the ratings are the lowest they've been for a while, and they don't even have Monday Night Football to compete with. That is damning. Because as soon as Monday Night Football comes back, I mean, it's a few months away now. Like,
It's not going to get any better, is it?
It did have competition, and as I said, like I've got the ratings here for the each hour breakdown. You had 3.48, so essentially 3.5 the first hour, 3.5 the second hour, and then 2.9 the third hour. So people are clearly invested in a 2-hour Raw. They just give zero clicks about the third hour when they know Raw, when the WWE phones it in the third hour these days. Like, if they literally dropped the show down to 2 hours, we wouldn't have these ratings conversations.
Well, yeah, fair enough, and all good points. And I just think it's a shame that kind of news is coming out now, given that we are seeing some of the matches that we've been asking for the last 6 to 12 months, and I hope that the decision makers there can look past it and not be like, well, this new format's bollocks, it's not working, we'll just go back to the bullshit authority bollocks we were doing before. Because that'd be a disaster.
That's exactly what's going to happen though, because Vince is like all about the ratings, and even though they were bad before, if they're still not getting any better, then he is going to revert back to the authority and stuff like that. So I don't think we're going to be seeing this for very long if we don't get a drastic improvement.
Well, hopefully something that can improve it. There was a segment coming up next, which was with AJ Styles and Anthony Gallows bumping into each other backstage. So, we saw them last week. They've been teased for a while, and this week we finally actually got to hear them speak, and they got a bit more time than I expected, to be honest. That segment sets up things later in the show, but what do you guys reckon about where that might be heading?
For me, I think what happened later, I don't know if you want to go into it now, but I can only see this ending up in a double cross and then going and beat down on AJ Styles eventually. How long it takes to get there, I'm not sure. They'll probably play it out a little while, but I can certainly see them double crossing AJ Styles.
There is only one way for the crowd not to completely fall flat when Roman Reigns beats AJ Styles at Payback, and that's that we do get the double cross with Anderson and Gallows against Styles, and we get Finn come out with them pulling their strings, and everybody will forget that Roman Reigns is still the champ, and it's going to be beautiful.
That'd be so good.
I hope that's
right.
Because if it's just a straight 15-minute match and Roman goes over clean over AJ, there will be a fucking riot.
I mean, I'd be surprised if they jumped straight into the AJ versus Finn storyline.
They can tease it with like a little bit of a walk-on, maybe an appearance, and not actually go straight into it, can't they?
Yeah, well, Finn was backstage at Raw this week, wasn't he? And obviously, if we get rumors of him being backstage at Raw next week, like whenever they are backstage, it like a debut is usually imminent. So I think that is like you said, Russ. Like if Roman Reigns wins a clean 15-minute match again, like people will just go crazy. And with it being AJ Styles, then they need to pull something out the bag to not to lose even more people.
Here's a random thought. Fuck it, let's go with it. What if, and this is the WWE, they've been known to do stuff like this, they don't go the predictable route, which is, as we've suggested, is the double cross leading to Finn Balor coming out, but it leads to the quote-unquote third man of this stop Gallows and Carl Anderson being Roman Reigns?
I will shoot myself in the face.
That'd be fucking. I'd actually find that really funny because once again, it would just be an absolute lack of giving a flying fuck about what the audience want.
What I've decided is that we're no longer live streaming me and Chelsea watching the Bellas. We are just totally watching Chelsea's face if that happens. Because I think we might see the moment where a heart breaks and a face starts to melt.
I don't think I don't think it'll be a heartbreak. I think it'll be pure rage. Like there'll be chairs flying.
Yeah, I think my TV will be out the window, and I'll be jumping on a plane to hunt Vince McMahon down. But no, that shit happens, and I am so done because, like you say, they just don't give a fuck. And that can't happen.
We've seen it at WrestleMania. Like we know this is the WWE. If they think something's predictable,
Ollie,
too predictable.
Ollie, please stop.
I think it's a great idea, Ollie.
I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying it's a WWE idea.
Yeah, well, no, you're absolutely right. You are. I mean, moving on from Gallows and Anderson into the second match of the night, we had sort of the development of the tag team championship tournament, no, the number one contenders tournament, sorry, and we had the Dudleys versus Enzo and Cass in the semi-finals. I pretty love Enzo and Cass. They got good reaction from the crowd, bit of promo time. Everyone in the UK seems to love them, and who doesn't like Bubba Ray in the ring throwing sass out at someone who can actually answer him back for once?
Like, I gotta ask, how are you gonna feel when I say I told you so when Enzo and Cass become the number one contenders and beat the New Day?
Oh, they're not winning. You have no chance. This is the thing that strikes me as ridiculous, is the fact that they are going to be in a number one contenders match, and it doesn't matter who wins. We're going to either get the Vaughn Villains or Enzo and Cass as the number one contenders, and that's just bonkers to me. I can't believe the turnaround for that is ridiculous. I once I saw these matchups on the card for Raw, I immediately thought that they were both going to win, but man, I can't believe it.
But I kind of agree with you. But when you actually look at the way the tag division's been booked recently, look at the match they put New Day in at WrestleMania. First of all, it wasn't even a title match. It was against the League of Nations. They obviously don't give a shit about the Dudleys or the Usos because they got bumped to the pre-show. So I think they might be looking at these two tag teams to give some depth to the division. I mean, I know you've got the Usos in there, and they're solid performers, if not spectacular. And the Dudley Boys, well, they are what they are, and I think they should be doing more with them. But I actually think they're looking to these two tag teams to push it on, and I can actually see something like Enzo Amore and Cass being the champions as a way to they think it's a way to shake it up.
What we've seen NXT's influence in the Divas Revolution, we're going to see it with a tag team revolution, because you've got two teams who are arguably bigger than Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillains in the Revival and Jason Jordan and Chad Gable waiting in the wings. Like, once those two come up with Enzo and the Vaudevillains, and the likes of the mighty Don't Kneel, who signed recently, and of course the Dudley Boys hanging around the Usos, who you said are good, but you know they're consistent. You're going to get a Drew rebirth of the tag division, and it's going to be incredible.
Do you know what I think? I think this even more hints towards a brand split, because the tag team, you have a tag team title on both shows. It was always ridiculous when it was just the same tag title on one show, from both shows, sorry. But now if you've got so many tag teams, you can just separate them and have your own show's tag champions. I don't know how I feel about it, but that's what I think might happen.
I don't think you need that. Like, you don't create this great bunch of tag teams and then just split them in half to get what we've had prior. Like, like they'd be cutting their nose to spite their face. You know, it's just kind of the reason the tag team tournament people are so excited about the women's division is because you've got a hardcore group of 6 or 7 women who could go at any moment, and you need that for the tag division as you need that for the big belt. And I think we're seeing that now. We're seeing each title has at least 6 or 7 contenders that you can put in there and make things fresh. Like, in a year's time, say Jason Jordan comes, American Alpha come up, and they put on the same match they had against the Revival at TakeOver Dallas. You're telling me that they potentially couldn't headline a pay-per-view in the future as two tag teams going up against each other?
Oh no, I'd gladly see that. Gladly. But I just think if you've got this many tag teams, you can only showcase one. We've had two lately, but typically they've had one tag team being showcased, and then you're going to have the revolving challenger door. Like, there's too many people to feed at this point, surely. I mean, I'm happy to have tag team feuds that are not revolving around the belt, and that'd be fine by me. It's just not something that you've seen from WWE, other than really recent history.
We've not seen it because the depth of the division's just been utter shit for so long.
But we saw it back when you had the Hardy. Like, you saw the other tag teams floating around, having their own mini feuds around it. Like, the New Age Outlaws were there, APA were there, the Holly Brothers. So it's not a great. I get this is going back a decade since we saw any of this, if not more so. But I think it's something that it's going to be the next kind of revival or revolution if they commit to what we've seen recently.
I mean, I'm down for it. I'm questioning what's going to happen.
You're just shitting on Enzo and Cass because you're miserable and no fun.
What else? WORM.
Well, moving on from someone who can cut a promo into Enzo into the next section, which was the Roman Reigns promo. He's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's the guy, and everyone booed him. Okay. I actually thought the promo wasn't terrible with AJ. He kind of talked up AJ. It's not the worst promo he's ever done. He wasn't making stupid tater tot references and all that bollocks. He sounded like the character he should be for once, but I mean, at this point, it's too much water under the bridge. But what did you guys reckon?
I can't decide whether or not I like this line being put out there right at the beginning, just in your face kind of way.
If he does it enough and frequently enough, then it becomes really annoying. Then fair
well,
enough.
that's going to be a perfect heel move, isn't it? But when he first came out with it, as I said, I liked it. I thought it was just an off-the-cuff remark he made, but now it's just been shoved down your throat. And
I think it should be the only thing he says.
Yeah, drop the mic after that every time.
I say he just sounds bored of saying it himself already. Like, I don't know, like Michael just said it. The first time he said it, that was cool. Like a one line, one time sort of thing. But I'm bored of it already, and I can guarantee we are going to have to sit through that promo every week for the next 10 years.
I mean, if it goes 10 years, by that point, I'll be like, go on, Roman, you do you.
It's going to be like John Cena. At the end of the 10 years, you'll start to like him again.
I've always liked Cena. But that's beside the point.
Is him saying that any different to Cena saying the champ is here, or Enzo repeating his entrance, or the New Age Outlaws doing their shtick?
Yes, because it's Roman Reigns and nobody cares. Like, I don't.
Well, they care enough to boo him, so they definitely care.
Yeah, well, just turn him heel, and then everyone can boo him for a reason, and he can say that as much time as he likes, and I will go to the toilet when he comes out.
So the difference between Cena saying the champ is here and Roman Reigns saying this line is that Cena usually uses it as a exclamation point at the end of his thing. If he went on a ramble and then ended it, but I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad, doing it like that instead. I don't think it would be so bad, but this very first thing I'm going to say as soon as the mic hits and the music drops, I'm going to say my line. It's just in your face. I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but so far it's annoying me, but I think that's its job, right?
Yeah.
That's the line I'm taking. I think it's meant to piss people off.
He's doing a very good job. a very good job.
Well, he managed to do it without saying anything for about 6 months, so they might as well give him something to say. But I mean, the sort of the main purpose of this segment became apparent as AJ came out, you know, had a bit of a back and forth with Roman Reigns. Even AJ Styles coming out and paying him a compliment got shit on. And then we had the attack from Gallows and Anderson on Roman Reigns. AJ looked surprised, so interesting that they're playing the angle of Styles isn't orchestrating this; they're kind of just running wild. Plays nicely into their match, and hints at some interruption, as we mentioned earlier. But I mean, did you think that was a good way to end the segment with Roman Reigns getting the shit kicked out of him? I think it probably helped.
Yeah, him getting the shit kicked out of him, always good, right? I don't know. I think I kind of expected them to get with AJ at some point. I'm surprised it went to this. I really thought they'd be going down eliminating someone from the tag team competition and taking their place instead. Like the Usos, they beat them up last week. Say, oh, they're unable to compete and we're going to take their place, and then go on to maybe win the title. But I'm happy for them to take this route, and I certainly enjoyed it. I hope it continues. And
it's very outside.
It's a question. It's a question then, but where that leaves AJ Styles, because is this beating up is quite the heel move, but AJ Styles is quite the babyface. So I don't know. It's a funny situation that they've landed AJ Styles in.
Yeah,
Which is why really I think the double cross is bound to happen.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say. Like, Bullet Club are very, very much heel, and like you say, throwing AJ Styles into that just does not make any sense at all. And I can't see them with the way Anderson and Gallows have come out, and they are just beating up people. I cannot see them changing them. So, like, I think a double cross is just staring us right in the face. There, it's the completely obvious way they're going to go with it. Because the thing I found as well is the commentators and like on WWE.com, like they are name dropping like Bullet Club and New Japan, and I wouldn't put it past them if they didn't bring up the fact that like, oh, he got kicked out of Bullet Club when he was in New Japan sort of thing. And if they tie all that in, if they can, then yeah, it's the obvious way they're going to go with it.
They have been doing like the little Bullet Club high five that they do, which is a double gun back fist, which always makes me sour whenever they see it do it slyly. So they like the two of them themselves are hinting towards, this is all going to be Bullet Club related, and how AJ was unceremoniously kicked out of the Bullet Club. I think we do get the double cross. As I said earlier, who's going to be the leader behind the double cross, as it were?
Finn.
It's the Roman Empire.
So, you're gonna give me. I'm gonna go to bed tonight and I'm gonna have nightmares.
I do like how they're really building them up. They're treating them as if they are legit guys. I mean, the last time you saw Luke Gallows on TV was it the Straight Edge Society? Was that the last time you saw him?
Yeah.
So it's like the fact that they've not just they've not even made mention of that, have they? Like they've just swept it under the rug, and now he's as if it's almost like, yes, he was here, but we're not going to say he was Festus or any of that nonsense. He's a legit contender now. He's a threat.
I also like the fact they're painted as a threat, and we've still not seen either of them in the ring gear yet.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, maybe we have. Maybe that's it. Change the tees. G's tees and boots. That's done.
They're having their debut on Monday, aren't they? Is it
Against the Usos, yeah.
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
The Usos. Well,
that's got to end up in a brawl, hasn't it? Like Roman Reigns is interfering in that match.
I was just going to say
that an out the ring fight.
That could be your main event, to be honest. Put them as the main event, and then it does end up with Roman Reigns coming down. Because it's weird. I'm finding it very weird that the shows are not ending with the World Heavyweight title as the main focus.
Well, that's because it's on Roman Reigns and no one really gives a shit. I think that's the problem.
well, you might not care about Roman Reigns, but everyone cares about the world title, right?
Same with Daniel Bryan and CM Punk though. Like the show's never ended with them, did it?
I don't know, I can't remember. It's a
Well,
long time ago.
moving on to two people.
Neither of them wrestle anymore.
Well, moving on to two people who definitely won't be closing Raw anytime soon. It was Baron Corbin versus Fandango. Fandango getting his obligatory annual run out on Raw in the UK because for some reason everyone seems to love him. And sort of developing the Baron Corbin Ziggler beatdown that's been going on for a couple of weeks. I know he had a vignette last week in his debut. He looked strong against Ziggler. What do we think they're actually going to do with Baron Corbin?
Just beat up people. Just come down to the ring and beat him up viciously, which he seems to be good at.
But to what end though? Like what do they actually do with someone like Baron Corbin? I mean, they've given him a pretty strong start. He had his debut at Mania, won a trophy. He's had a couple of Raw appearances where he's looked like a wrecking ball. But what for?
I could see him building up to go after Kalisto. Like he's the guy who defends Kalisto.
That's exactly what I was just going to say, is that the way they're building him up against Ziggler, and then, with the US Championship where it is, to be honest...
Have you seen the US Championship since WrestleMania?
No, we haven't.
Kalisto was in the tag tournament, but that's about as close as we got to seeing it, isn't it?
Yeah, it comes to something when your US Championship is just being jobbed out in his tag team. Like, for me, with the US Championship, what I'd like to happen again is for Cena to come back, take it back, and we have that US Open Challenge. Like, I will take that coming back every time. But no, I can see them putting Baron Corbin down there. I mean, it will give him something to do. It might alleviate it a little bit, but...
I can't wait till he has a promo with Ryback. That'll be like, I'm a big guy. No, I'm a big guy. No, I'm a bigger guy, but I'm stronger. Let's have a match. Okay. Like...
You've just written the script there, Russ.
Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on Baron Corbin. I actually think he's probably going to be better at promos in the future than Ryback is, because fucking hell, that guy's an absolute mood hoover. But...
I think I was the only Baron Corbin fan here, and I'm so happy for him, and I'm happy to see him on Raw, and I hope he continues.
I agree. I'm just wondering what they do.
He's got to end up with the title at some point, and I think US title is the way to go. But again, you guys said it, and Chelsea, you're absolutely right that he needs something like Cena to come back, or maybe Corbin could do it. But last year, this title was defended every week, and it was on one of the main events at WrestleMania with Cena versus Rusev, with a tank, of course. And now it's nothing. It's not even on the show.
Well, it's part of the main event at SummerSlam as well, alongside the heavyweight title.
Exactly, and now it's just nothing again. Absolutely nothing. In fact, currently, I would say it's worth less than the Divas title, which they no longer wrestle for.
There it is. Rip in peace, US title, bring back the European title.
Yes.
You mentioned it there, the Divas title is no longer in use. It's been replaced by the Women's Championship, and we saw the champion in action again, well, in 8-woman tag match action. Team Charlotte versus Team Natalia. Team Charlotte versus Team Natalia. What do you reckon is this? It was obviously, I mean, they named the teams after the two people that this match was supposed to sort of highlight. So, yeah, what do we... Hang on, have I skipped the Miz's section? Oh, well,
Don't think it really matters, does it?
No, fuck the Miz. Yeah, Team Charlotte versus Team Natalia, what do we reckon? I mean, I think it's quite an interesting build-up. I know last week, Chelsea, you mentioned that you'd like to see Natalia, actually win the belt, because we thought we'd seen it on Raw last week, but we didn't.
Yeah.
Charlotte's tapped twice in consecutive Raws now. Do you reckon she can do it at Payback?
I think, well, now we've got the odds evened out. We've got Bret Hart coming out in her corner. I would really, really like to see Natalya take the belt. I mean, she definitely deserves it. She's never really... she had the Divas belt once, was it? Like, is that it?
I think that's what we found out, yeah.
Yeah, I just think Charlotte's reign needs to come to an end. Like, I get for the legitimacy of the belt, they need her to have it for a while, but I think... I'd really like to see Natalya take it away, and especially with having Flair and Hart however they want to each other, they can piss each other off. But no, with her tapping out, I just really want Natalya to win. Like I hate Charlotte because she does her job as a heel, she's a cheat, but I love Natalya, and I really just want her to have this title run, because if it doesn't happen at Payback, then it's not going to.
A shame it's not going to happen then, isn't it?
No, yeah, it's now or never. It really is.
Yeah, I agree, and I take your point about you need to have someone hold the women's title for an extended period of time. But do you think the audience consider if Charlotte loses it? Do you think they'll think, oh well, the women's title's only been held for 3 weeks, or do you think they will extend that reign out to include the work Charlotte did with the Divas belt? I mean, I don't really think that's too much of an issue, is it?
What did you say?
Did I not? Was I on mute or something?
No. You said words and they went through my head.
Yeah, it was just.
I didn't formulate them.
Someone made the point that to legitimise the title, someone needs to hold it for an extended period of time. But given that Charlotte had already held the Divas title for so long, do you really think that's an issue at this point?
No, I don't think that's an issue. It's just one continuous run, isn't it? It's not like she's only been a champion for a month.
That's why I think they actually might give it to Natalya, because Charlotte's, she's had it for longer than I thought she was going to in the first place, to be honest.
Natalya's not winning this, man. It's a damn shame, but she's not winning it. This feud is going to just prolong what is meant to happen at SummerSlam, and that's going to be Sasha Banks taking it off of Charlotte. And Charlotte's going to have it that entire time. I'm sorry to tell you that it's going to be her for the next 4 months. How long was SummerSlam? 5 months?
August, I think.
So
yeah, 4 months.
So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. I think Charlotte's going to keep it for a long time now until Sasha Banks gets her singles shot rather than a triple threat match. And until then, we're going to go through. I reckon we're going to go through Natalya, we're going to go through Paige, and then we might go through Becky, and then we'll get back to Sasha again.
Fair enough.
That is the unfortunate truth, I think. Like, as much as I want her to win, she's just not going to, is she?
Fair enough. Well, looping back around to the match I accidentally skipped because it involved The Miz and I'd forgotten he existed. We had The Miz doing a Miz TV section with the lovely Maurice, and then interrupted by Cesaro. What do we think of his new James Bond entrance?
He's always still here.
I'm still here, yeah. I feel like I've spoken loads already, so I thought I'd let other people speak.
Right, okay. It's ridiculous, this entrance. I don't understand. He comes out as James Bond, he calls himself Superman, and he looks like Agent 47, and I just can't understand what he's trying to do here.
He doesn't look good.
He's just Superman. He's just Superman.
Why they always think like the suits he wears looks far too big and he looks like a kid trying to be his dad.
Which is difficult when you're about 6'6".
They just look so gangly on him. It's like
I can't believe we're criticising his tailoring.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing, because he's ripping it off. He's not going to have like a fully tailored suit that he's going to look great in, is he?
But it's
it's a bit of a weird gimmick, let's put it that way.
I quite like it. I quite like it. I don't know, it is just...
Because the horn needs to go at this point.
What does?
What?
Oh, the siren. The siren.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you're going to do a James Bond gimmick, go all out. Get the brass band involved.
Yeah, exactly. Give the guy some class.
Yeah.
Not a fucking wailing rape alarm.
What?
That is the best description of his entrance I've ever heard.
And funny enough, he comes out as a stripper, so...
A Chippendale coming out for a rape alarm. Brilliant.
Cesaro's character took a very dark turn there.
Well, one thing I think we can all agree on is I think he will be an infinitely better Intercontinental Champion than The Miz. I know The Miz plays his character well, he's a piece of shit, but I think with Cesaro's been around in the mix for so long, and then he picked up his injury at an unfortunate time. He's not really had any luck and any proper pushing, so I think he needs something.
Do you know what? The Miz, I like The Miz. I think I've always liked The Miz, weirdly. But he didn't need Maurice to be with him. I don't understand why she's here. Other than to be a pretty looking side piece, I'm not really sure what she brings to the.
You know why she's here?
Because she
Because
looks good.
She's joining the cast of Total Divas next season, so she needs
Oh
to be
well,
involved
there we
somewhere.
go. Chelsea's got it sussed.
Have fun watching the
We've
Miz
got-
on Total Divas, Chelsea.
Well, Lana and Renee Young are going across the Total Divas 2 times, so.
Does that mean Dean Ambrose is going to be on Total Divas?
Oh my god, yes,
And Rusev.
I am all over. Yes. Yes,
make that
Total
watching
Divas
it.
is the best program in the world.
Rusev is like the best thing in wrestling in terms of his comedy.
His Twitter account is amazing.
So I actually start watching Total Divas just to see the interactions because I'm not gonna lie, I've seen bits more of it, and Cesaro and Tyson Kidd made Total Divas for a season.
Don't lie, Ollie. Ever since I made you watch that episode, you've watched it every week.
I've been marathoning it back to back.
He was watching it before that. It's just we've never managed to coax it out of him. But I mean, this.
I think Oliver freely admitted that he's watched a few.
Yeah. It makes for good trash TV. Perfect.
It really does. It really is.
There's so much TV to watch. I don't understand why you would choose to watch trash TV.
I'm with Mike on this one. I mean, Ollie, I thought
Why
we
do
were
people
friends at
watch
one point. but-
Transformers when they can watch The Godfather?
What?
Why do people watch the Transformers movies when you could watch something like The Godfather? You know?
Because they're six.
But that's what you're doing. You're watching Transformers in Total Divas instead of
Because it's
I don't
fun to
know Game
watch.
of.
It's like
Oh,
you
what?
can have the switch off for an hour and just be like, fuck it.
An hour? I watched that shit for like 3 hours. Like, once it's on, it's on the network. It just plays all day. Like,
Chelsea has plans one day and turns on Divas, and then all of a sudden it's bedtime, and she's like, "What the fuck happened?"
I'm pretty sure that is one. Like,
And 4 bottles of wine down, and the life's a mess.
welcome to my Saturday daytime.
Well, John Cena just proposed to Nikki already.
Oh, get off this topic! Move
So
on.
this is why we had to move the recording to Wednesdays. Well, I mean, to conclude that segment, League of Nations randomly appeared because they were due a match with Cesaro. Turns into an eight-man tag match. Cesaro does his chip and down routine. New Day T-shirt, big pop for the New Day, and of course Cesaro and the New Day pick up the win because that is what is right. And the
Can I
eight-man.
just mention that
Yeah.
that is possibly the loudest crowd I have ever heard for an entrance. When they did the New Day's entrance along with him,
Yeah.
the London audience was so loud it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I really wish I was there for it because I don't know if they piped it up. I doubt they did. That was incredible.
I mean, it was pretty much one of the loudest reactions by The Undertaker in the UK last year, which me and Chelsea can attest to. I mean, everyone loves them, and rightly so.
Humble brag.
Well, and to sort of demonstrate the point, there was a tweet from Big E in the week, and it basically said, "Thank you to everyone that buys a plastic phallus to wear on their head and some imaginary cereal because they want wrestling to be fun again." I mean, that just sums them up in a tweet. Perfect.
Yeah, there's one thing that could be said about New Day is that they're fun, and there's nothing wrong with that.
100%. And sort of keeping with the tag theme, the next matchup was the Usos and the Vaudevillains. We touched on it earlier as part of the tag division tournament, which the Vaudevillains came out on top. Nice to see. I think Ollie was right in what he said when he said what we've seen with the women's division and the revolution from NXT there. Seeing something similar in NXT. And I think Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillains will put on a good match. And I think was it Takeover Brooklyn where they last fought for the titles when the Vaudevillains went over.
Yes, I want to say.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a bit of beef there if anyone saw it and they put on a good match. I think it'd be good for the payback pay-per-view to see some new faces on it. But I mean, we kind of covered that earlier. And next up, we got an Apollo Crews segment on how relieved are we all that he didn't join the Social Outcasts.
I kind of wanted it to happen, not going to lie.
Really?
Just to see what the fuck would have happened.
But to like consign him to death after 2 weeks of his Raw career would have been a bit
I actually think it might have been really good for a personality side of it.
because they would actually given him one.
Yeah, I mean, you could have imagined them doing some funny backstage segments, and that would have been great. But yeah, in reality, I'm pleased he hasn't joined, and I actually think he did really well. Even with his backstage promos, as on the pre-show as well, I think he did really quite well, to be honest.
Yeah,
So I'm hoping bigger things for him, and I actually think the crowd was more behind him as well this week. But I came to the realization that I really like his music.
it is good, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just watching it and I found myself just quietly nodding my head along with the beat. Just I'm into that music. But
How do you think he's landed on the main roster? I know we've spoken about him on NXT before, but how do you think his transition's going?
I think it's far too early to tell. I think him and Baron Corbin, we're not going to really know how their transition is going to go until we're past, I say, about Extreme Rules. Give them a couple of months to kind of bed in and see if this experiments where two guys who obviously no one thought was ready to come up, if you talk to the wider people who watch NXT, they weren't the guys at the top. In fact, there were guys who seemed to be kind of forgotten about, especially in Apollo Cruz's case. But I think they're in the right kind of area that they can develop a lot quicker and a lot faster on the main roster than they could in NXT. I think it's a weird case. Like, NXT is meant to be developmental, but at the same time, putting guys like Corbin and Cruz on the main roster when they're sound in the ring, they're trying to develop a personality, I think could potentially help them more, almost like a trial by fire, if that makes sense.
Yeah, completely agree.
So I think it'll bring out that personality side more, and I think it could definitely help the two, because I think both of them have got good futures. Apollo Crews clearly has got the look, the talent, the skill. He just needs to find his happy, smiley personality come through a bit more, rather than become a Rocky Maivia, which is possible in his case if he doesn't find it soon enough. But I think he'll do all right. Just wanted to mention, also, is anyone breaking news here? Adam Rose may have just committed career suicide.
who?
What?
Adam Rose, because Adam Rose, social outcast, suspended
Yeah.
60 days.
Yeah.
He has posted on Twitter about it.
Oh dear.
What's he doing?
Oh dear.
Is it an apology? Because if it isn't, he's fucked up.
Essentially, he's refuted that he was suspended for something he shouldn't have been suspended for, basically.
Unlucky.
And himself. I'm pretty sure this response will be nowhere near the publicity that my suspension did, and this response is tantamount to career suicide.
You know what the best thing about this is?
Mhm.
Is that Adam Rose is going to get fired and then Sandow is going to take his place in the social outcast.
Oh, that's interesting. But I thought somebody else just now as you were saying it, and it links well with a question that I had while watching Raw. Titus O'Neil.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
What the
I
fuck?
forgot about that. It's like a
Right.
secret host.
Why did Titus O'Neil have two different spots on this show? One, he's in a stop smoking advert, and then two, you can win a competition to go to Orlando with his family. What the fuck? He got suspended, did he?
Yeah,
It was 60 days. But how long ago was it?
It's just finished. I'm pretty sure he finished just after WrestleMania.
Right.
I think that shows that he's not so much in the doghouse, or maybe he's so in the doghouse that he has to just do everything that they say. He's like,
He
Oh, he
do you want
always
to
did that, didn't he? Like, he's
Do you wanna do a
didn't he win,
do you-
like Dad of the Year or something.
do a non-smoking ad? Yeah. Oh, we need you and your family to go around with another family that you don't know around Orlando Park. Oh, yeah. I just can't wait to find out what he does next, such as joining the Social Outcasts.
But like, he's a massive humanitarian. Like, people have read the stories about him donating and like taking homeless people out for dinner and stuff. So he's always, I think, been one to put his hand forward for stuff like this. I will say it's hilarious if they go to Orlando and Titus, the WWE guy, takes the family to a TNA show. If TNA still exists at that point. Do you think it's written in his contract that he's barred from going to that one ride in particular? If there's even if the family kicking and screaming if they want to go see TNA, he's just not allowed anywhere in the building.
So, social outcasts, Damien Sandow. Is that who we'd like to see?
Yes. I just need more Sandow.
Yeah,
really
I was
need
just
more.
gonna say if that gets me more Sandow, then I'll be fine with that. But man, what's Sandow doing? I want him. I thought after his comeback on
I
Royal
think
Rumble,
he recently committed career suicide as well, because he's been on Twitter slandering left, right, and centre. He had like
No,
a three.
Sandow just gets paid to like sit backstage and play games on Up Up Down Down and just go around the country. Like he's literally got the dream job, right? Like he doesn't. He
yeah, he
knows
gets
he's never
paid
gonna.
for it and doesn't actually have to put his body on them.
Exactly. He just gets paid to sit and play PlayStation in the back room. Like I'm down with that. But no, I would like to see more Sandow on the TV.
There you go, listeners. If you want more Sandown, Up Up Down Down on YouTube is the place to go.
Oh, he's so good on it. He's amazing on it.
Well, moving on to the main event of the show, which, as we established earlier, everyone seems to have tuned out for. Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens. Kind of a rekindling of a brief feud they had. Extreme Rules, is it, or TLC? TLC. Yeah, I mean, two guys I'm a massive fan of. Two guys the crowds are a massive fan of in the building, at least. Yeah, it's a 17-minute match. Nothing wrong with it as far as I could tell. Just a shame that so many people tuned out, really.
Yeah, it was a good match. Did we expect any different? I don't understand. If people, I guess you're right, Ollie, that it was just the fact that there was a combination of two different events to take away from it. But Kevin Owens, for me, is one of the most entertaining wrestlers on it. So.
Like I said, it's just a case of the 3 hours of killing people. That third hour has been a nightmare for years and has always dropped 500 to 500,000 viewers.
But then they've got to decide then, haven't they? What matters to them more? Ad revenue where they get it, ad revenue for 3 hours, or numbers where their numbers are getting diluted by this third hour. They're going to have to make a decision eventually.
I think, wasn't it Hunter who said himself that he'd prefer to go to 2 hours, but they make that much money and the USA want them to keep doing it, that they're kind of tied in at this point to just couldn't even bear it almost.
Yeah, he didn't come out right and say it. I think didn't he say something along the lines of like, I think he said when he goes to the cinema, even he looks down at his watch if a film runs over like 2 hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't think he's directly come out and said it, but.
It's as close as he's ever going to be able to say this is a stupid idea.
To be honest, every wrestler who's ever asked about it seems to say, yeah, it's too long, because Big Show on Stone Cold's podcast just came out right and just said, God, I wish it was 2 hours. You know, that third hour they have to they're finding stuff to fill it rather than having meaningful content, which.
And I think for the past couple of weeks since Mania, if they'd cut the show down to 2 hours, we'd have had 3 spectacular episodes of Raw.
And there's nothing to say that they can't
Instead,
Sorry, go on.
And instead we've got 3 okay to good episodes of Raw that have just felt long. And if you watch Raw via Hulu, you get what an hour and a half, 2 hour Raw feels like, and it's so much nicer. It feels so much nicer and goes so much quicker.
There's nothing to say if they want to get people actually on the show, or in the they want to give value for money for the guys paying for tickets in the building. You can have the first hour on the network, or the last hour on the network, and have 2 hours on TV, something like that.
They do that though. They have an hour on the network before every Raw.
I know, but what I mean is, you cut the hour off the TV basically, and you can still get the same amount of people on TV. I just don't know. They're so inefficient with their time.
Oh, completely. They have 3 hours on Raw, 2 hours on SmackDown. Freaking main event and superstars, I think, are both still things that run for an hour each. That's 7 hours right there. Surely they can fit their roster of 40, 50 people over those 7 hours. Because SmackDown's just a repeat of the same guys that we see every Monday night.
I can't remember the last time I thought that watching SmackDown was relevant.
It's things are happening on SmackDown these days, but
it's nothing. It's nothing that a simple YouTube video doesn't cover, though. You know.
Oh, agreed. And I think taping is always hurt, like one of those things that does hurt it. But at the same time, I guess you could say the same thing about NXT, and people still shooting to watch NXT, and that's taken weeks in advance. So I don't know. It's a SmackDown. I think, has always been a tricky one since the brand split ended.
Yeah, because it's very much the B show, isn't it?
Even it was still the B show. The
It
brand
was
split.
always the
Paul
B show,
Heyman-
yeah.
It's just Paul Heyman made it far above and beyond any right it really had to be.
So all in all, I thought it was a good episode of Raw. I mean, compared to some of the absolute tripe we had served up before Mania.
That's what I was going to say when Ollie mentioned that if it was 2 hours, we'd have had 3 good episodes of Raw rather than 3 okay episodes. If these are okay episodes, they're still 100% better than what we had, don't you think?
Yeah, completely
Yeah.
agree. So I think my only criticism this week is the opening segment went a bit long, but you know, when you've got the guys who were involved, I can kind of forgive it. But I mean, I was quite happy with it. It sounds like you guys were too. But I mean, final thoughts?
My final thought is I have an overall question about Raw in general. Where is this Shane O'Mac thing going? What's the end game?
It's got to be with Triple H returning at some point, surely.
Yeah, I think we're going to get in a couple more weeks of Shane, and then coming up to when Rollins comes back, I think maybe Rollins getting rid of the Authority sort of thing, because I think it was on that Falcon Arrow AMA on Reddit that he did say like the Authority are going to be going away for quite an extended period of time, but obviously I think they need to come back before they can disappear again, because if they were to just disappear and we get, I don't know, they're just carrying on, like there is no story there, and I really don't think Shane's going to be here for the long run. I think they might play a different storyline out with it, but what that is, I don't know.
Because Shane originally only planned for 4 months or so. So if
Yeah,
that
that's
is,
what his
if that is
contract
the
was, wasn't
case, he was there for 2 months before WrestleMania, or was it 1?
About
It
2
was
months.
what?
It was about 2, wasn't it? So 2 months before WrestleMania. This is the 3rd one. So unless it gets extended, in real terms, next month is the last month of Shane. I just don't know what can. Would Triple H be coming back this soon? Be wrong. As an authority figure, or maybe he doesn't come back as an authority. I just don't know. I mean, it's a lot of questions that I don't really know the answer to.
It's interesting and it's refreshing that like the babyface authority figure who doesn't really get involved that much is so refreshing to have. It's very NXT William Regal-esque. Sure, Shane gets involved a little bit more, but that's because he's got 3 hours over an hour to really kind of play with. So of course we're going to see him more than we ever see Regal at NXT. But it's nice, and I hope that whatever the end result is, even if it's not Shane full time, that we just don't go back to heel.
The anonymous Raw general manager.
I just, I hope whoever is the authority, quote unquote, just stays behind the scenes.
I said this at about episode 3. Bring back Eric Bischoff.
No, because he's going to throw himself all over the bloody place.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it feels more. It feels more like an event rather than a fucking soap opera, You don't always need to see the commissioner or the authority to understand what's going on.
No, but as long as we get the boss in charge doing some more fist bumps with the Usos, then we're all right. Anyway, that's my thoughts on Raw. I don't understand what Shane's doing. There you go.
Fair enough. Anyone else, or are we? Is that Raw for the week?
I think
Like it might be.
Awesome. Cool. Well, on that note, there you have it, guys. Interesting developments coming through. A pretty good card lined up for Payback by the looks of it. Everyone seems to be a lot happier with the way Raw's shaping up since Mania. 3 good episodes, in my opinion. Certainly a lot better than it was before. So hopefully we can continue to get these decent episodes coming out, and hopefully the ratings start to reflect that. So Vince doesn't take a massive shit and revert to type, and yeah, bring the authority back and back to square one. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But I mean, thanks for listening this week. You can find the podcast at Out of Nowhere Pod on Twitter. Have I got that right?
Yep.
And Out of Nowhere Podcast at gmail.com if you want to fire us an email. Any comments are welcome. If you've got any negative comments, please direct them to Mike. You can find him at
At DjangoBot96.
Awesome. Where can they find you, Ollie?
Just get me through the Out of Nowhere stuff. It's where I usually comment and hang around.
And Chelsea?
You can find me fangirling over Finn Balor at Fight Chelsea Fight.
And you can find me at Ross Poyton, but please do remember I only deal in positive comments. Anything else needs to go to Mike. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
I would love to have some back and forth with somebody. Right, Michael, your opinions are shit. Right, son.
It sounds like someone's having an earthquake or something. I don't quite know what's going on.
Yeah, it's like a fucking 9 on the Richter scale, but because I'm a professional.
Your transitions were smooth today, man. I was very impressed.
Yeah, I thought I talked too much.
You're the host. You have to keep the conversation going. How long did that go? It seemed very short.
It was an hour. It was
cool.
about 55 minutes, I think.
Nicely done.
Nice.
You can do it again next week, bro.
Look what happens. We get someone who actually controls the show. We don't talk bullshit.
Yeah, but honestly, the first time I do this when I've had a drink, it's just cancel it.
Oh man, Chelsea, we really need you to have another go.
I'll do it next week. I'll try again.
I kind of just like the rotating roles.
No, definitely.
Chelsea, we're still live.
Oh shit, it's because Ollie started it before, so we stopped.